are you still sick?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Thanks for coming.
Oh, you're welcome. It's okay.
Even though you're ill.
I'm not. I am and I'm not.
How's everything else going?
It's okay. It's going.
Yeah.
No, I'm just salty. My parents made me mad today.
Oh.
And I'm just salt.
What did they do?
No, my stepdad's like, what are you doing tomorrow? I'm like, I work at 2. And he's like, well, what are you doing today? Are you going anywhere? I'm like, I have the podcast that I do literally every week. I didn't say that.
To.
Yeah, I'm like, I do it. I didn't say that. I was like, I do it every week. This is a thing. This is a known fact. And then he's like, oh, your mom didn't tell you? I'm like, what? And then he's like, oh, we were going to go out tonight. And I'm like,
okay. Hope you're
can't.
ready for a sitter or something.
I am the sitter. But then I was like, this is a known fact. Why would you schedule it on a day that I'm, I mean, right. I get it because, I'm like, not, I still live there and stuff, but like.
Well, I mean, if they had tickets to a concert or something.
Oh, I would totally understand that. And that wouldn't be like a last minute thing though. That would be like a planned thing. But then they just didn't go anyway, so it's fine. Because they were like, oh.
Make it over there? Maybe not.
Shit! God, I'm a walking calamity. What? What? I'm on 1. Can you hear? I hear me. Are you on?
All I want to do is zoom. Hey, there's it. Is it?
Wait, hold on. Do it again. Isn't that 3?
I don't know.
That is 3. It's not working.
All I want to do. All right.
Well, I hear you on 2, but like I have to crank it all the way up.
No. All right. So all right. So.
Okay, there we go. I'm sorry.
No, I don't know whatever's wrong with that one.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not. Maybe it's like maybe it's supposed to be over there.
Yeah.
People, Jack, this studio's getting a little squirrely.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Oh, you're good.
Oh, this is. God, I'm so ugly. Who are you? What the fuck? This is supposed to come up.
I'm Batman.
I hit. Oh, there it goes. Okay. Oh, we're starting 7 minutes late. Oh, yeah. Well, did you study? No? Are we going to wing it?
Yeah.
I don't even know what this honestly, I looked it up, but, I didn't know. Yeah, I kind of just contacted somebody, and then I was like, hey.
Yeah.
Yeah. If this, oh God, I'm so sorry. I should have prepared.
No, it's all right.
Sure it is.
Are we rolling?
Okay, yeah, hold on. Hold on. Come on. Oh. Okay, yeah, okay. Sorry. I don't know what else to do. What else are you supposed to say?
No, that's great.
Okay, now you can go.
Hey, there's the music. That means it's time for Animal Talk. Some of the best doggone pet people on the planet here to help you with your pets. It's America's Pet Show, really. That's what it is. And then we got guys like Brian Donovan.
Who's not here.
He's an animal behaviorist and a dog trainer. And our buddy Matt Fox hangs out a lot.
Yeah, and he's not here though.
He's a banker and funny. And pushing the buttons is
Sam.
Hey, Sam. Hey, Sam. My name's Jamie Flanagan, just making sure everybody has a good time. So, just helping people with their pets and talking about animals, animal-related issues, interesting stuff in animal news. And today, something special, Sam. You were able to wrangle an interview for us. There's a group of folks, because it's November 1st, depending on when people listen to the podcast. But we're recording here on November 1st. I think this is like episode 97, 98.
I thought this was 99, and I thought the next one was supposed to be 100.
Oh, are we almost there?
Yeah.
Oh, see, you're keeping better count than me.
I think. It was.
Because we gotta have a party. We
yeah.
gotta have a party. So, but we're close. But it's happening on November 1st, which means radio stations across the country have switched to playing Christmas music.
Oh yeah. Oh no.
I know. It's like, right? It's like there's depending on when you listen to the podcast. But so November 1st it is a little early to go with the Christmas carols, I think. But there's some stations that do that. It's just kooky. It's just crazy. Not totally my deal. But with that slightly in mind, there's a way people like, there's something interesting for the holidays. I want to do something, or it's kind of turned. The season of giving, right, is on the horizon, and there's a project. It's very interesting, and I kind of just threw the website at you, and I'm like, Sam, go find, do, get, and it's the Heifer Project International.
Yes.
And we're going to be talking to one of the representatives there, and it's a really extraordinary program, turning hunger into hope, right? What you can do is sponsor like a barnyard animal, and you send them to Stanford. They learn chemistry. No, that's not what it is. But you sponsor like a piece of cattle.
Yeah.
You sponsored a piece of cattle. Yes. That's the technical term for it, Samantha.
No way.
Yeah, it is.
That's kind of mean.
No, it's so it's some barnyard animal, or a bunch of chickens, or a goat, or a pig, or a cow, and it goes to a family or a village, and it helps sustain that family or village. So it's
cool.
Quite the little project.
Yeah.
So you kind of sponsor the health and well-being of one of these pieces of cattle. That's not the right way to say it.
No.
But Chris from the Heifer International will get us straight on that when we talk to him in just a couple of minutes. But Sam, what about you? What's new for you this week?
Nothing. I'm sick.
That's
for like
a
the third
lie.
week in a row.
Will there be marshmallows?
Oh no! Oh God! Don't bring this up! Don't bring this up on here.
Will there be marshmallows?
I have two separate lives. I have the podcast life, and then I got the film life. Those are two separate.
There will be marshmallows. There will be marshmallows. So Samantha starred in a movie.
Yeah, a short film. Only because they didn't have an actor.
None of the actors showed up?
No, one girl, I think she didn't, I don't know, something. I don't know, she like last minute kind of dropped out because, I don't know. She was like, oh, have you guys won any awards in the past? And we're like, no, we're just, doing it. She's like, oh, then I don't want to help. Yeah, so
you became the lead role and the main actor. So if people are searching the YouTube, what is it, Funny in the Brain or Shot to the Head or something like that?
Oh, Aim for the Head Productions. Yeah, that's I'm not a part
of
that.
It's on their YouTube channel?
Yeah, it's on their YouTube channel. I'm not a part of their thing.
What's
I just
the title
helped.
of the piece?
Domir.
Domir.
Yeah, which is like, God, I can't remember what language that is. It's like French
Latin
for to sleep.
French? Okay.
Yeah,
or
sleep. Yeah.
All right. Because it's like this culty kind of spooky kind of
Yeah, you watched
thing.
it? Oh, yep.
Yeah, I need. We'll talk after the show, and you can explain it to me because I don't understand.
You don't. It's just.
I don't get the coin, right? So you had the coin at the beginning of the movie, of the piece.
Yeah.
And that's what started a conversation with someone who sucked you into this cult.
Yeah.
And then you have a conversation with an absolute stranger who has either the same coin or a similar coin. But how did that coin get to the stranger?
We only had 5 minutes to do it. So, but like I think the coin was supposed to be like part of, like God, I don't even know.
Yeah.
It was still,
We'll have to dissect
yeah.
the coin later.
Yeah.
So if you watch it, if you go to, what is it, Funny in the Brain? No.
Aim for the Head Productions.
Aim for the Head
Yeah.
Productions. And
Funny in the Brain. Where did you even get that from?
I don't know. So, because you guys I was supposed to be funny, maybe. I don't know.
Did you think it was funny, or did you think it was like
a little bit
scary?
of both? A little bit of both.
Oh my God, you thought it was funny? Probably because of me, right?
Yeah.
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 So.
It's supposed to be scary, but okay.
Okay. And, ooh, that's scary. So, but yeah, so look up Sam's movie, and if you can figure out what the coin is all about, tell us what the coin's about. You should put a link to the movie in there.
Oh,
So,
yeah. I
in
will.
the chat. But we're going to get Chris on the line. Sam's going to try to dial him up and get him on from
That's so weird. His name came up when I typed in his number. That's
Heifer
weird.
Project International.
Oh, no, I don't want to do that.
And yeah, so we call him up.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Hold on.
Oh, you're good. But so yeah, it's they have a very interesting website. It's just heifer.org. Lots of information on there, but we're going to get even more information as we dial it up and get a hold of Chris here on the phone line.
On the line.
On the line.
Hi, this is Chris.
Chris, hi, it's Jamie and Sam from Animal Talk.
Hi, how are you?
Excellent, excellent. We got you on the podcast today. We're really excited to talk to you, to find out. We were just talking about how it's November 1st here, and many radio stations are flipping over to Christmas music already. So how early is that? But the season of giving, kind of starts now, and it's never too early, and it goes year-round where people need help, and so it's always the season of giving. And that's something that is the big part of the Heifer Project International, is giving and helping out, and really helping out. And you guys help out in an extraordinarily unique way. Heifer International, lends itself to the beasts. So what is the Heifer Project International, and how are you helping with beasts?
Yeah, so we're an organisation working with communities in 20 countries around the world, and that includes it in the US as well. And we work to end hunger and poverty. So essentially what we do is we work with local farmers to find ways that they can increase their income so that, they get to the point where they've got enough money to cover all of their family's needs. And one of the great ways of doing that is through, kind of giving the gift of animals. So, a lot of our supporters here in the US, they will give the gift of an animal, and that goes to a community in need around the world. And when the community receives the animal, so that could be a cow, a goat, a pig, or chickens, or other animals, they then commit that the first offspring of that animal gets passed on to another family. So essentially what we're doing is we're creating stronger communities, because you don't get to a case of having, kind of haves and have-nots within communities. So even though, kind of we're working directly with one group of people, the results are being shared with many other people within the communities and beyond.
Oh, that is incredible. So you get a cow, and so do you usually send things out in breeding pairs then to facilitate that?
Yeah, so we work a lot with we first, so when we start working with a community, we'll if they've got local groups that are already organised, we'll work with them to strengthen those groups, or we'll help them set them up themselves. And then those groups slowly get to the point of where they form, kind of farming cooperatives, and then they go on beyond that. So within the groups, they kind of connect up so that there's enough animals there for for them to breed. So they don't necessarily go in pairs, but they'll kind of within the groups they'll have access to to a range of animals, so that they can continue to grow whether it's their herds or their flocks or whatever. So
what sort of animals are being provided through the Heifer International? Is it goats? Is it chickens? Is it cows? What are you guys working with?
It really depends on the community that we're working with, because we work obviously here in the US, but we also work across Central America, in a lot in Southeast Asia and in Sub-Saharan Africa. So it's very much tailored to what's kind of the necessary and relevant for the communities that we're working with. So in Asia and also to some extent in Africa, it's a lot of goats, because goats particularly thrive in conditions of a slightly harsher climate. So communities can still continue to raise them and kind of increase their income in that way. In sub-Saharan Africa, it's a lot of cows, which obviously links to the organization's name, Heifer, and that's what we started doing, and that's where we began 74 years ago. We'll be 75 years old next year. And then in other parts of the world, it's we do a lot of work not only with farmers that just have one kind of animal, but others to help them diversify their farms, because one of the big things is that if you're heavily reliant on one animal or one crop for your income, and there's a problem with that animal or that crop, then that obviously has a huge impact on your income and your ability to put food on the table for your family. So I was just recently, a few weeks back, I was in Honduras, and in Honduras we work a lot with coffee farmers, and a lot of coffee farmers are purely reliant on coffee for their incomes. But I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but the last few years there's been a big drop in the price of coffee, which means that coffee farmers aren't paying so much for the coffee, which means that gets passed on to a drop in profits for farmers. So diversifying their crops is really important, especially as kind of there's pests and things that affect coffee crops. So diversifying really means that they can still continue to keep their income and kind of keep making money to put food on the table and send their kids to school, and just kind of strengthens them in the face of kind of different changing climate and changing conditions in the market.
That's amazing. I don't think you guys were, because we've talked to you quite a while back. We've been around for a while. We talked to you a while ago, and that sounds like a little newer venture. I knew you've been around for a long time, but I didn't know 75 years. That's amazing. So
we started. I find it quite an interesting story. We started in 1944, and our founder, a guy called Dan West, he was involved in distributing food aid in the Spanish Civil War, and he'd say they'd go to a community and they'd distribute food one day, and he'd say, look, this is crazy, because tomorrow these people aren't going to have enough food to eat. So he said, what if we got to the point of, instead of giving people food, we gave them an animal, and they could kind of make their own food, whether that comes through kind of milk or kind of other products or in the form of meat. And so that's how we started. And then obviously in the different countries we work with, it's as I mentioned, it's different animals that we introduce into communities.
So what's one of the more unique animals that you've placed somewhere or helped facilitate with?
Well, in Central America, we kind of place llamas, also guinea pigs as well. So yeah, there's a range of different ones, and it just, as I said, just depends really on the community that we're working with and what's going to be best for them.
Oh, so guinea pigs. What's the story with that? How are guinea pigs helpful to a community?
Well, guinea pigs, particularly in mountain communities in Central America, they can be an easy to look, kind of look after source of food, really, source of meat.
Okay.
So in some places, in countries like Peru and Bolivia and elsewhere, people will eat guinea pig.
Okay. Oops. No, that's amazing. So how can people get involved? Your website is heifer.org. So when they go there, how can they become involved by visiting your website?
Well, there's a range of different options as to how you can get involved. If you go to our website as heifer.org, you can make a donation there. You can give a gift to a community, and the gifts that we that we put into communities, that we say that they're the gifts that keep on giving, because they there's a lot more that can be done income wise for for communities with with a cow, for example. It's not only if they have have calves and they can sell those in the marketplace, but also the milk products and yogurt they can make, cheese, and lots of other things. So there's, in terms of the gifts, there's a range of gifts that's on offer that people can choose from that are on the website, and you can also on the website you can sign up for more information on the work that we do and how you can get involved. If you're in the Arkansas area, we do a lot of programs with local schools and local groups, and we have a ranch just outside of Little Rock as well, that people can visit as well. And there's some great learning experiences there, showing modeling up some of the communities that we work with around the world, and you can see what life is like in some of those communities.
So I love that. So on the website, you can actually pick the animal that you're going to help donate.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh.
So there's a range of different options there. Yeah.
And then you can decide. Can you help direct where it's going to go? You're like, I would like to do something in South or Central America or Africa, or you can kind of pick the region to help too.
Well, the animal that gets given it tends as I mentioned, we'll put them into the community that they're best suited to.
Okay.
And so you can't choose the specific region. So you can't say, I want to give a gift to a specific community, because what we do is we determine at the point in time where where the best place is to put that animal.
All right.
But if you look at the stories that are there, and when we talk about the different animals that are available, it will give you a sense of where in the world that's likely to be.
All right, so you can pick the beast, and then you guys help direct it to the best possible location. I just love this. I just love that whole concept. I love the whole idea. Alpacas, right? Do you guys work with alpacas?
We do, yeah, we do.
So
we
what?
Work with alpacas, and we source all of our animals get sourced locally as well, so that we're we're not bringing new livestock in from outside the country, and kind of the risk of spreading disease. We source everything locally so that we're supporting the local economy. Just
for the alliteration, I want an animal talk alpaca. That's
oh my God.
Sam was afraid I was going to say that. So I didn't know that you did work in the United States. I didn't quite realize that you did work in the States. I always envisioned it as like in Central America, South America, and like in Africa. Is just when I thought about your project. So where in the States, and what parts are you providing? What are you providing in the stateside?
So we do a lot of work with local farmers cooperatives in a number of southern states, but a lot of it is based in and around the Arkansas area. And what we do is essentially we work with small scale farmers, so farmers that are kind of producing both food crops and also kind of raising animals on their farms. And we work with a couple of different cooperatives. One called Grassroots Cooperative, and they source kind of organic and kind of different meat products, chemical-free meat products that you can purchase, and then they get shipped across the country. So even if you're not in the area, they can be delivered to your door.
Oh, that is awesome. So what kind of corporate support? Do you have anybody that works with you guys?
We do, yeah. We have a mix of different supporters. So we're very strict about the organisations and the companies that we work with, because we want to make sure that they're really invested in the mission of the organisation. But we work with a range of different companies. So we work with some cocoa companies who are really looking to make sure that they can improve the quality of the cocoa in their supply chain, but also really that in the cocoa supply chain in particular that we use for obviously for chocolate. There are a lot of human rights issues in the way that it's produced and the chemicals that are used and things. So we help support farmers that are working with more sustainable practices. So we work with a number of cocoa companies. We're working with spice companies that work in the spices space. Also, companies that bring certain expertise to our projects. So, we have very strict, policies and guidelines for the farmers that we work with, in terms of animal welfare and animal well-being. And we give them training, as through the course of our engagement with them in different projects. And we partner with some specialist companies in those spaces as well. So we've got a range of great supporters, and of course in different areas of our work, we're always looking for partners that share our mission as well.
So that was something I was curious about, because you mentioned about the thoughtful farming and taking care of the animals, because some of these animals are being used for food, for meat. Do you get pushback from like animal rights or animal activist groups at all?
We do sometimes. I mean, we try to engage in conversation with them as much as possible. I mean, the reality is, I think, if you're working in communities where there's high rates of malnutrition and severe food insecurity, the reality is that the quickest way to get the nutrition into people's diets is often through animal products. I mean, and obviously you can get certain levels of protein from milk and other things, but in many parts of the world, meat is a really important part of the diet in terms of increasing people's nutrition levels at a rapid speed. So obviously we employ local staff. The overwhelming majority of our teams that are in the field doing the work there, from the countries and communities in which we're working, because that's vital for being known and trusted within the communities. And we make sure that what we're doing is driven by their expertise and by the wishes of the communities, so that we're making sure that what we're doing is something that they can use, because ultimately what we want to do is we want to get to the point where they're no longer reliant on heifer support to continue making what we call a living income, so they've got enough money to cover all of their costs. Because we know that our projects are only going to be truly sustainable if people can see the benefits for themselves, and they ultimately no longer need us.
So when you're dropping off an animal and introducing an animal into a village or for a family, are you supplying feed and support along that line as well?
Yeah, sometimes we do, and sometimes that can all be sourced locally. So, right. I mean, ultimately, what we do is when we start working with a certain community, we'll local groups will either be formed, or if they exist, we'll work with them. And at the beginning of that process, they get a whole load of training in terms of, we identify what's going to be the best animal for that community. They receive training as to what they need, to prepare in order to receive that animal, so that they've got a shelter ready, so that they know what food is going to be needed. All of those elements, what's needed to kind of the continued welfare of the animal. So, we do a lot of work with training local people to be vets, so that there's a vet service that's available in communities, because when you're working with rural communities, there's often a vet's not available for a few hours drive. So we do all of that, and as much as possible, we try to make sure that communities can either grow themselves the feed, or they can source that locally.
Sure.
Because ultimately that keeps money and keeps resources in the local economy, and it helps the community grow as a whole. But sometimes they have to purchase food outside of the communities, and that will be still within countries, but that will come from outside of the communities.
So that comes into play with like picking the right animal for the right spot, so feeding them won't be an issue. So
exactly, exactly, and also making sure that it's something that people within the community are familiar with, because if you're, say, for example, you give a flock of chickens to a community, but people in the community aren't used to eating eggs, then that's not a productive way of working. Yeah. So we make sure that everything is contextualized to the community that we're working with.
So is there any place right now that is in desperate need? I guess probably there's always desperate need in more places than there should be, but is there any one place right now that really needs something?
Well, there's a lot a lot of work that we're doing in Central America at the moment. So we work with a lot with coffee farmers, and one of the big things, as I mentioned, is that coffee prices internationally have been dropping, which means that
not at my
coffee...
Starbucks, it's not.
well, that's the interesting thing, and that's an interesting point because the coffee companies themselves are making good money, but they need to make sure that that's passed on to farmers in the form of fair prices.
Yeah.
Because often what happens is if there's only one person locally who's buying the coffee from farmers, then they dictate the prices, which mean that the farmers don't get a good price for their product. So ultimately, what's happening is that farmers are not they're seeing that their profit margins are being crushed. Which means that there's a lot of seasonal workers in Honduras. I believe it's around 3 million people are reliant on seasonal jobs. And when those jobs aren't available, because if the farmers can't get the price at the market, then they're often not harvesting their crop or only harvesting part of it. And the wages that they're able to offer to workers are well below the minimum wage. So ultimately, a lot of those seasonal workers are leaving, and they're looking to migrate, which is why it's part of the reason why you start to see things like the migrant caravan that's been in the news recently. So what we're doing with those communities is we're working to help, particularly young people, because a lot of the workers are seasonal. The seasonal workers are young people, and we're working with them to help set up kind of relevant small businesses within their communities. So some people have started keeping bees, and the bees produce honey, which they can sell locally. Others produce things like potato chips or yucca chips and plantain chips, those kinds of things that get sold locally. And that allows them to be, less dependent on the money from the seasonal work. And it means that ultimately they can do what they want to do, which is to stay in with their families in their communities. They don't have to go looking for work elsewhere.
And it's what a great project. I just love every part of this. So is there anything new, anything different on the horizon for Heifer International?
Well, what the thing that we're really focusing on at the moment is looking at really how we can take the work that we're doing to scale, because ultimately we know that the work that we're doing is only going to be sustainable if farmers can not only produce a crop, whether that's growing food or raising animals, but they also have access to the markets. So that's one of the things that we really work to do, is that, and that's why some of our corporate partnerships come into play, is that we make the introductions and we connect farmers up with, so that they've got a sustainable source, a sustainable market for their product. Ultimately, there's no point in us doing a lot of training with farmers and helping them to produce food if they don't have a market where they can actually sell it. So that's the big kind of strategic direction that we're going in at the moment, because we want to get as many farmers as possible to these living income levels, which as I said, what we define as a living income is having a family having enough money to cover all of their costs, and that includes not only putting food on the table, but it also includes money for sending the kids to school, healthcare, those kind of things. So we really focus on looking at working with communities where they can scale up what they're doing, and making sure as well that we're targeting women, because ultimately if you want to tackle global poverty, you really have to focus on working with women, because when women have access to markets, and when women are able to run their own businesses, a lot of that money gets put back into the family and invested back into the family. So that raises the living standards of the whole family, and make sure everyone has enough food to eat and gets the education they need.
It is a pretty complex project. That is it's astounding. So so you're getting the sustainable markets. I didn't even think about that. I didn't even think about that. Having a place, a reputable place to consistently sell the crops that they're creating. Again, amazing. So, Chris, how many people are involved in the Heifer International? How many people around the globe are working on this project?
So we have, as I said, we work in 20 countries internationally, and that includes the US. So we've got on a staff of we have I think a staff is about 200 people, but we work with a lot of partners and a lot of cooperatives in the different countries where we work. So a lot of what we're doing is connecting up and kind of building these networks of people who can kind of reach into the different areas that we need to go to. So whether that's kind of people at the community level, and I think it's really important to state that the work that we're doing, we're really kind of getting behind and investing in people within the communities that are already doing things for themselves. But with our support, they can take that to to the next level. So it's really about kind of getting the right people together that can make a big difference. So we do a lot of that. We've got some great staff that are working around the world. We've got some fantastic supporters around the world, and particularly here in the US. And we just fortunate that we're able to bring this all together and make real change for communities around the world.
Well, Chris, I appreciate everything that you and Heifer International are doing for people. And then the website is heifer.org. People want to visit there, get lots more information, pick an alpaca to send off someplace, make a little donation and help out. And Chris, thank you so much for being with us.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks so much for having me.
All right. You have a good evening.
You too. Thank you. Be
well. And I keep saying, oh, that's amazing. It's astounding. I was like, it is. What a massive undertaking. Just connecting that network of people to get it right. That is just baffling to me.
What am I doing with my life? What are you doing with your life?
Yeah, we live. Yeah. I shape the young minds of
America.
Yeah,
you're doing something good. I'm doing nothing.
No, I'm like, I sit around screaming, "Get off my lawn!"
Get
off my
people.
lawn. So, yeah, but yeah, so.
Wow.
But it's a pretty. I dig that. I like the animal talk alpaca. I was going to be a T-shirt, I think, in the near future. Sam riding the animal talk alpaca.
Yes.
With marshmallows on a stick. Will there be marshmallows?
Oh.
Sorry. Oh, mercy, mercy, mercy. So, Sam.
So what?
You sound like you're dying over there.
Yeah, I am a little bit.
Oh, you are just not.
I'm so sorry. You probably can hear it all the way.
Sound a little hoarse there.
That was a cow.
Oh. Yeah, okay.
That doesn't make any sense.
No, yeah. I was gonna play like little cow sound effects while we're talking to him. I'm like, I like his accent. We're gonna let it roll.
Yeah, me too. Ooh.
All right, are you ready to play a game?
Yes. Oh no.
Fact or fiction? You decide. All right, Samantha.
Gosh, I'm gonna fail. I'm not good at games.
This is a new thing we're gonna do. It'd be better if Brian and Matt were here because we could each take a headline and try to stump you with it. But I have 3 headlines for you.
Oh my god.
I have 3 headlines. 2 of them are true. 1 is false. So 2 are true.
And why can't you do 1 true, 2 false? Because it's easier.
2 are true. 1 is false.
Fine.
So here you go. You got to pick the fake story.
Okay. Oh, I picked the fake one. That's
yes.
Cool. Okay.
All right. So in light of our heifer buddies, right? Heifer International. Here's the headline for you: Goats thirsting for pee and sweat. Goats thirsting for pee and sweat. That's pretty nasty. The next one up is Australian couple lucky to be alive after kangaroo attack.
Okay, maybe.
And the next one is no room in the inn for dogs. Canines have been banned from hotels with lobbies. There you go.
I feel like I would have heard about some of these.
Yeah, you might have, because you probably could have heard of two of them, because two of them are actually true.
All right.
Get away from Google. Step away from the Google.
Yeah, sure.
So, all right, so there you go. Goats thirsting for pee and sweat. Australian couple lucky to be alive after a kangaroo attack. And the last one is no room in the inn for dogs. Canines banned from hotels with lobbies.
Okay. I feel like...
Hang on. I got it. It's a whole thing, so you gotta think it up. Oh, what do we got here? All right, so which one do you think it is?
I feel like there's no... I feel like the last one, you totally couldn't have came up with that headline. That's too, like, cool. So maybe, I don't know. So maybe that one's, no, I'm picking the false one.
You got to pick the false one.
Okay,
yeah.
I'm going to pick the, I know it's not the last one. I think the last one's probably true. Or is it false? I don't know. I'm going to go with the goat one. What?
That's it, man.
Which
Game
one's the
over,
false
man.
one?
Game over.
The third one.
Oh, come on!
It was so cool because I wrote it.
Oh, you did not! Oh my god!
I made that one up. Yeah, I was gonna do like whole stories and then like read a synopsis of it, but
Oh
I
my
didn't
God.
write anything more than the headline.
I thought you couldn't even. I thought that was too like cool for you. Like, wow, that was like.
So the story was gonna be that
I should have picked that one.
because of the abuse of companion animals and allergies, people can't have dogs in hotels with
Yeah.
with lobbies.
Well,
You'd have to go to a motorport like a Knight's Inn where you enter from the exterior.
Yeah.
So that was going to be the story,
Uh-huh.
the fake story that I was going to write, but I just didn't write
I
it.
felt it. I knew it. I knew it was fake. And then I was
So
just like,
you were
no, I
leaning
knew
towards it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was the one. But so that means that
Goats are thirsty for
goats
pee
are
and
thirsty
sweat.
for pee and sweat. Can I get a? Ooh, that's nasty. Where is it? Here we go. Goats thirsting for human pee and sweat.
Why human?
Well, here's the thing. Where and it's like the story is like stupid because it's like a video, and but it's not just like stills and then text. But there's no story to go along with it. It's like a series of video.
It's just a
memes.
video of a goat
But
drinking.
goats, goats are thirsty for human sweat and pee. It's a Olympic National Park in Washington. So it's here in the States. It's happening right now. It's in September. In September. So, I mean, in the last couple of months. But they're airlifting goats out because the minerals in human sweat and pee is attractive to these goats.
So
And they've how
do they know
attack,
it's pee and sweat?
they're the salt and the urine has become a big problem. Where is it? They've airlifted 400. Here, goats crave the salt and minerals in bodily fluids found near campsites and hiking trails. So
Okay, so people are
they
peeing
crave
in the
the salt and the minerals. Yeah, and so they're attracted to areas where people have peed and sweated.
Wow.
And so the goats are there. And so they're attracted to the salt and minerals in the bodily fluids, and they've airlifted over 400 goats out of the thing. Actually, in August, a guy was killed by a goat attack.
Because he peed? He wanted his
No, he was hiking by himself and came across a surly goat, and that was it. So, to protect the hikers and avoid future incidents, they relocated 400 of these goats in Washington.
Wow.
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I thought that was fake.
Yeah, I did too. I was like, oh, clickbait. And I'm like, oh, no.
Oh, clickbait. Oh, no. But you still clicked
But
on
I'm
it.
in. Oh, heck yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then the other story that was true, it was about the Australian couple, lucky to be alive
I thought that was true.
after a harrowing kangaroo attack. The kangaroo only stopped the attack after the couple's son hit it with a piece of wood. This comes out of
Oh my
Sydney.
God.
Australian wildlife caretakers Jim and Linda Smith are lucky to be alive, an ambulance official said, after they were attacked by a kangaroo in the northeast Queensland state. The Smiths were feeding wild kangaroos on their property in
Don't feed the kangaroos.
in the Darling Downs. That should be a song. When the gray kangaroo Buck struck out at Jim, knocking him to the ground, the kangaroo attacked his wife, Linda, and she ran to help him, leaving her with a collapsed lung and broken ribs and cuts and scratches. Kangaroos are scary.
Yeah, this is why I don't live in Australia, and I'll never go, because they got giant spiders, they got kangaroos, killer kangaroos. That should be the next big horror movie, Killer Kangaroos.
Killer Kangaroos. Sharknado meets Killer Kangaroos.
I copyrighted that, so now nobody can steal it. It's out there now.
And continue with this bit from Jim and his wife here. It's scary. It knocked me over once or twice, and then it grabbed you. You can see what they do, Jim said, showing his injuries. It was only when his son came out and hit the kangaroo with a piece of wood that the marsupial stopped the attack and returned to the nearby bushland.
Does it say how old the son is?
No. Linda was taken to the local hospital. She underwent surgery. If the kangaroo is able to continue to inflict further injury, her life was in danger. The ambulance driver, Stephen Joseph, said Australia has roughly 45 million kangaroos, and it's not unusual for them to come into conflict with people as housing expands into areas where the marsupials live. They're even more likely to be driven into populated areas in search of food and water in drought-stricken areas and drought-stricken times. No, it doesn't say how old the son was. So
that's crazy.
But, so and that was just like a week ago. So that's nuts.
Yeah, and then the other one's fake.
And you can take your dogs.
That's why I thought I was like, I don't know. I don't know what I was thinking, because I'm like, that sounds really absurd. Like, I know some hotels don't allow it, but like the lobby, like why? Like why? Like that sounded weird. But then I was like, that's a really good headline. There's no way he came up with that. And then well,
there I did, and I did. I'm so proud of me. The one thing I don't have, Samantha, is a joke.
Oh.
So you're gonna have to search out for a joke.
All right.
You got to hunt one down while I remind people that they should like and subscribe, right? If you like what we do, hit that like button, subscribe to it, ring the bell. No, that's on YouTube.
Ring the bell
for notifications, right?
Oh, the
YouTube,
notification. Yeah. Oh, turn on the
notification bell. But that's YouTube, so that's not the video. But you could do that too if you wanted.
You can pretend to do it.
Some of these are on YouTube. And but leave a comment. Comments are extraordinarily helpful. So if you leave a little comment, people pushes us up the food chain. So we can we can do more of this. And the social medias, Animal Talk Radio, animaltalkradio.com is the website. So Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. All of those, just simply Animal Talk Radio, and find us there. And we really appreciate you taking the time and spending time with us. I appreciate Chris spending time with us today.
Yeah, he's cool. He has a cool accent.
I know. I was like, we got him on the line. I'm like, bonus cool accent. Your time just got extended, Chris.
Yeah.
But no, it was pretty awesome that he took the time to talk to us. So not everybody does.
Yeah.
So,
we weren't being like bad today. We were being nice.
Relatively good. I knew I had goat pee jokes coming up, so I was gonna ask him about that, but then it would have blown the game.
Yeah, he would have been like, "What?
What the hell are you talking about?" I gotta go now. So Samantha.
What? Oh no.
It's about that time.
I mean, this one's like funny, but like
you were just laughing a minute ago. It's time for
it's funny.
The bad
but you could put any animal in it and it would not change the meaning.
Fair play. All right, let's do like 3 different animals and see which one's funniest. No, let's just do one and then see if it's funny at all.
But I've heard this one. I just thought it was funny. I've heard it before. What did the grape say when the alpaca stood on it?
What did the grape say when the alpaca stood on it?
Nothing. It just let out a little whine. So you could do that with like a cow.
That's more of a grape joke than
it's a grape rape
an
joke.
animal joke.
But I looked at alpaca jokes, and that's the one. That's the one that came up.
Alpaca jokes. I thought you just had some random animal and you inserted alpaca for the comedy of the throwback.
Yes.
Good. I was like, Sam, good throwback.
Yeah,
Way
look
to
at
go.
me.
So, yeah, I was talking about that when I sent you after the guest. I was saying,
you were like,
get
I
us an
want it.
Animal Talk
Yeah.
alpaca. I want one.
I knew you were gonna say that too.
You knew it was coming somewhere down the line.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So,
Ugh, I gotta go home and sleep. Ugh.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I appreciate you, Samantha.
Oh, thanks.
You are awesome. And, I appreciate everybody for listening once again. AnimalTalkRadio.com, Animal Talk Radio on all socials. Comment, like, subscribe. It helps immensely. We appreciate it. That'll do it, right? You got anything else?
No,
All right.
I don't think so.
All right. So until next time, please have an exotic week.
And kiss your wild thing for me.